All right, and we are live. Guys, welcome to the lunch break here at FNGO this Monday, August 25th. So glad you guys could join us. I know it's going to take a few minutes for a lot of guys to hop on, but as you come on, we are so glad that you could make your way here today and to join me as we pontificate about the weekend and what we've got going on around us. And it was a good weekend. It was a very good weekend. We'll get into all that, but so glad you guys could join. Make sure if you're watching, you like and subscribe. Do all the cool things. Click that notification bell. I'm supposed to say that a lot more often than I normally do, but just want to make sure that I got that out of the way. So, again, I don't get in trouble. So that's what we do right here. So we're not in trouble anymore. We put it out there. So, again, lots going on in the fishing world, and I guess it just depends on what you like as to what we're going to talk about. The end of the Bassmaster season. I was going to discuss that a little bit. We'll talk about BFL on Lanier. That was a pretty good one that we had this past weekend. Start naming some names of who won that and everything. What's up, Coleman? Saw the pictures you posted on Facebook. Looks like you had a good last fishing trip before your surgery. And I hope that goes well and everything. A couple of things too. If you're over in the Monroe area today, about 3:00, Hunter Tap. That's they're gonna have his service. That's the young man we talked about a little bit last week. Thoughts and prayers still go out to that family in that situation, and even his fishing club, the Rod Benders. So what's up, Doug? Happy to see the Georgia boys qualify for the Classic. Absolutely, yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure. Also, too, just another thing, just for you guys to keep in your thoughts and your prayers a little bit. There was an accident over in Alabama. I saw this on a Lake Weiss page, so I imagine maybe the father was an angler, but he had his two daughters accidentally, not accidentally, they were killed in a car accident. So imagine, getting that news right there. And just saw that. You can check it out on one. It's on a Lake Weiss page, but I just kind of had that on my heart too. That's just tragic, absolutely tragic, and I can't even imagine what that call would be like. So yeah, I believe it was. I believe the young lady's name was Lillian Lade, something like that. But still, awful, awful, awful. But anyway, so yeah, lots going on, and I had a great weekend. Had an absolutely great weekend. Got to see my great niece do her first, cheerleading on the side of a football jamboree. And I can tell you, I used to coach park and rec football, and then I coached some travel football and all that. And now that I've been out of that game for about, 10 or 11 years, I went back and I'm like, thank goodness I'm not doing that anymore. I was like, it was different looking at it from this perspective than when I was a coach. And I was that coach that was like, we got to win, and now I'm kind of old and I guess getting soft in my old age. I'm like, I'll just let the kids play. So, but that was pretty cool. And I got to do some work with my son. Went to church yesterday. Pastor Russell put a good sermon out there. One of those that every time he does one of these, I leave Sunday going, man, I got to do better. And it was one of those. So those are the best ones. I got to do better. But I will do better. I will do better. So anyway, let's go ahead and take care of what we normally do. And then we'll start talking about the things that we want to talk about. I always give you this day in history so you'll know a couple of things. This day in history in 1916, Woodrow Wilson signed the National Park Service Organic Act, establishing the National Park Service as an agency of the U.S. Department of Interior to maintain the country's natural and historic wonders and leave them unimpaired for the next generation. So basically, your national parks, they got created today in 1916. And also, 2022. Now, this is going to be affecting you guys in the fishing world more so than as we come along. Regulators approved California's plan to require all new cars, trucks, and SUVs to run on electricity or hydrogen by 2035. Now, if you don't think that's going to affect you sooner or later, maybe with this administration, it's kind of been kicked down the road a little bit, but that's coming. I had a wise man once tell me, watch what happens in California because it eventually moves west. So that's going to hit your boat motors and all those things eventually. I know Yamaha's got a hydrogen motor that they kind of unveiled at a boat show or trade show earlier this year. And I think Clint said it's still going to be 11, maybe 10, 11 years before it, becomes into production. But guys, your gas motors eventually, unless something changes, they're going to go the way of the dinosaur. And hopefully it takes a while. I know you guys love your gas motors, and I understand. But they're going to be electric or hydrogen or something at some point in time. It is coming, and I don't know if there's too many things that we can do about it. Now, I saved this last one because last week we had all our conspiracy theory talk. And when I saw this one this morning, I started laughing. I absolutely thought it was the funniest thing. In 2012, it's not funny, but it is funny. In 2012, Neil Armstrong, who was 82 years old at the time, who commanded the historic Apollo 11 lunar landing and was the first man to set foot on the moon in July 1969, died in Cincinnati, Ohio. So what's the odds that last week we were talking about the conspiracy theories, and a lot of people don't believe we stepped foot on the moon and everything, but on this date, he passed away, Neil Armstrong. James Ramsey, I can't wait to be bootlegging gasoline. It'd be like them olden times with moonshine up here, right? Go back to the bootlegger status and everything. We have to get our moonshine out of Dawsonville and all that to start a NASCAR. What would bootlegging gasoline start in the future? And speaking of which, I tried to watch NASCAR the other day. I loved NASCAR back in the day. I love Daytona, I love Talladega, and I love the Atlanta race. And I'll watch Bristol. The rest of it has just gotten to where it bores me to death because I was a big Dale Jr. fan. He don't race no more. Trying to find another driver to root for. I do like Ryan Blaney, who won. I'm supposed to like Chase Elliott since I live in Dawsonville, but he's all right. But still, it was like I noticed in the grandstands though, guys, 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't get that ticket to Daytona. You just couldn't. And I remember Bristol, that night race at Bristol, it was like 7 years or something like that, like a waiting list to get a ticket to Bristol Motor Speedway to watch a NASCAR event at night. I got lucky. I got to go with my father-in-law, and that was the night. You guys may have watched it. Dale Jr. actually won. We took the 8 car, the Budweiser car at the end. He's got it pinned, just burning it off. And that was a hell of an event to go to. But I was noticing on the TV coverage, there was a lot of empty seats. A lot of empty seats at Daytona. So I don't know what the deal is with them. Maybe it's all the car changes and everything, but it is different. Coleman says, I still want to hear the old 2 strokes, counting them off at the ramp early in the morning. Yeah, I mean, imagine that. So in the electric only world, we don't have blast off. We have zoom offs where the guys with the motors, other than Kerry Bell, who can run 25 or 30 in his electric rig. The rest of us, we take off at a grand 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mile an hour. So we zoom off. So yeah, that is something that you're going to lose once all these electric outboards and stuff kind of take over. I don't know. Got to kick the coffee in. So anyway, guys, all right. So first of all, you guys that got to fish this weekend, how did it go for you guys? What were you catching them on? Since I did not get to fish, I'm going to live vicariously through you. I saw on the FNG group page today on the brag board, some guys got some really good fish out there. There's some big ones got caught. Jeremiah, I was looking at some of the other redneck sports like NASCAR and bull riding, and the injuries are horrifying. This bull might as well have stomped a man to death. It does happen. It does happen. NASCAR has gotten safer, though, in the day. What's up, Tony? What's up, Alex? But yeah, how did it go on the water this weekend? Now, Saturday, of course, driving out to Jackson County to watch my great niece do her cheer. I noticed there was a lot of we would go through intermittent showers, not really heavy, not gully washers or anything, but we were going through showers. And as I crossed over Lake Lanier, driving on the over 53, I just kind of glanced out at Little Hall just to see if I could see boats out there and what was going on. And my view at that point, there was nobody around. So I don't know where all the guys in the BFL were fishing, but they weren't at Little Hall at the time I went over. Wobblehead, frog, shaky head, Tony Collum Fishing said. Is that what you were catching them on? Saturday was rough on Lanier. Caught a couple, but struggled to get them to eat. Sunday at Latham, different. Everything in the top water was great. Well, that's good to hear about Latham for sure, especially the top water. Especially the top water. I got to get in the boat and get over there, or get back in the yak, the canoe, whatever you guys want to call it, the kayak. Get over there, even if nothing else, for some exercise. Aldridge said the plopper. Good Lord, yeah. Yeah, you put out a video, Dave. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I do believe you were talking about top water action over on Gunnersville, correct? Jeremiah, caught about 14 trout up in North Georgia mountains. Seen my first bear, then went to Tennessee and got smallmouth and walleye off my bucket list. Largemouth all day yesterday. That's pretty cool. The fact you caught 14 trout was pretty good because the water generally is really warm for trout, so it needs to start cooling off to get that bite. So the fact you caught 14, that's good. Now, you seen your first bear. Jeremiah, how did it feel to see your first bear? Honestly, how did it feel? Because I've seen tons of bears. They're all over around this shop up here. Seriously, all over around the shop. And so it's nothing new to see a bear. But there was a bear. There's a house right across the street from the shop. And the wonderful old lady that lives there, she'll come over from time to time. And she was showing us video. This was last week. She had a bear in her yard, stayed there for about a week, but she even had video of it on her front porch. And it literally is, I don't know, 80 yards across the street from here. So I know they're here. That's why on my feeder, I hunt up here. Miss Kelly lets me hunt up here. And I won't put out a feeder or nothing until, good grief, honestly, into September. Because if you put it out right now, the bears are just going to tear it all to pieces right now. Let's see. Tony said it was fire even in the rain on Saturday. C219 Troll, rain had crappie on fire at Clark's Hill. Had 7 over 1.5 pounds. Dude, that's some tacos right there, man. That's good. That's really good. Dave said 60 in 3 hours and most of them on the plopper. Oh, good Lord. Bears are a nuisance in North Georgia, in my opinion. Well, they're here. They probably were here before us. But, yeah, they can be a pain in the butt. Aaron Parker, I've got a fox den near my house. I've noticed him or her going along the shoreline the last 4 weeks or so. Okay, so you've seen – I always like seeing foxes. Honestly, I really do like seeing fox. We don't see as many. I see like one, at least on Cowart Road that I live on, I may see 1 or 2 sightings of a fox crossing the road each year. But I do see plenty of coyotes, and I hear the coyotes at night. So maybe that has some effect on it. I don't know. Jeremiah, I see. Feeders are for people who can't hunt. Thad, don't come on here with that stuff. It's Monday and I'm grumpy. No, seriously. I get it. Now, I don't hunt over feeders over on my hunting club in Wilkes County where I got my lease. But up here, listen, you better do something to draw them in, because if not, every Billy Bob around here, whether they are supposed to be on the land or not, they're going to be taking them out. So we try to do that. Jeremiah on his bear sighting. It was nuts, actually. Every animal in the state was out there right near sundown. Black bear with 2 cubs ran across the street on the way home. Also, meth heads and the Confederacy were out. Well, Jeremiah, it is North Georgia, buddy. It is North Georgia. I understand it. Clark's Hill was terrible for me on Saturday. Caught a lot, but no size. No size. Tyler Shelnup moved to Waleska. Still ain't seen a bear. They're there. I promise you. Maybe they're a little bit more over here, but I promise you there's bear all over there. We have a ridiculous amount of bears up here in Habersham. Hunter Holbrook said, yeah. Habersham's one of those places where I really would love to hang out a lot more, to hunt and fish and all that. It's a good little poke from the house. Thad Moody. Also got my external stitches out early. On the mend, quick. Cleared to start back fishing next week. Well, good for you, Thad. Good for you. Glad it's all going good. But yeah, it's funny how on one lake, can y'all hunt bears in Georgia? Yes. Now, I might be wrong on this. I know in North Georgia, through bow season and maybe a couple of weeks into rifle season. Okay. South Georgia, and again, this is where I could be wrong. Used to have like a zone that you could only hunt them for a little. You used to couldn't hunt them in South Georgia. Now I think you can in certain places. I ain't 100% sure. I don't hunt South Georgia. But actually the first bear I ever saw while hunting was in South Georgia. down just off Okie Woods. That big. I guess it's a WMA down there. Went down there hunting with my buddy. He put me in a stand, and that night, right before dark, for he was supposed to pick me up on the 4-wheeler, had a mama and 2 cubs come in, and that was, I don't know if they say Houston County or Houston County. I think it's Houston County down in South Georgia. At that time, you couldn't. Uh, do you have a lithium battery expert? I've had a terrible time with them. Well, I will tell you this, Troll. What problems have you had with them? That first of all, that's the big thing. What problems are you having with them? I'm curious. And then there are people around here that, depending on your problem, we can you got Sonar Pros, Trent and the gang over there, Trent Palmer. He's been on the show before. It's been a hot minute since he's been on, where we talk just straight up batteries. But maybe it's time to do another one since the technology's changed a little bit. But how long are you supposed to charge a lithium? Depends on your charger. Now, I've got some of these battery tender chargers in here that I'm supposed to be doing some content on, and they've got maintainers for lithiums. I don't know. Maybe they have a shutoff. I really don't know. That's a question that maybe somebody in the comment section can answer that has lithium batteries. I don't know. I do know that some of these battery tender, there's one charger over that you can do a lithium, a lead acid, an AGM, gel, all you can do them all at the same time. It's a pretty cool little charger. I have to get it out and show you guys maybe sometime this week. But Trent Palmer, if I was calling anybody in Georgia, Trent Palmer, Sonar Pros, 100%. That's the guy that I would ask. He is actually probably one of the most intelligent country boys I've ever seen when it comes to that. You should have a lithium specific smart charger. They can get messed up if not. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you definitely need to have a lithium. Let's see. Mosquitoes as big as Honda Civics out there too. Yeah, I walked outside yesterday. That's with a lot of the rain. I actually tried to cut grass after church yesterday, and I mean, tell you, I had to put some spray on. It was terrible, but that's all the rain that we've been having. Messick Outdoors. Yes, we hunt black bear here. They get big too. Check out the FNGO podcast that he was on with Puffy talking about bear hunting. And that's been a hot minute. That's back when we were doing them downstairs. So, but yeah, we did talk about that. You can get some big black bear in Georgia. I would say the majority of them that get shot each year are not particularly huge. Not particularly huge, but they are out there. I think probably the biggest one I've seen in the woods might have been 250, 300. So he says his battery won't charge anymore. Think it's a BMS problem. Tried the force charge trick, didn't work. Call Trent, definitely call Trent and ask him that question. Most have a smart charger that cuts off automatically when the battery reaches capacity. Mike Geiger says, I leave my batteries on charge all the time. My Ionic batteries will automatically adjust, and the charger I have automatically shuts on and off and keeps them fully charged. That's kind of what I was talking about. I use an NOCO Gen Pro charger. Messick says, yeah, but overcharging is bad for them too, right? Not really if the battery charger that you got specifically can handle it. No more hot weather, though, Danny. Well, we'll see. This is that false fall, dude. I guarantee it's false fall. It'll be coming back before we know it. And you know what? I can tell you right now, I can tell you when it's going to get hot again in Georgia. It'll be the week of opening day of deer season. Never fails. We probably could have highs of 50s for the rest of August and the first part of September, and opening day of deer season, it's going to be 98 degrees with about 115% humidity. Let's see. Geiger uses that NOCO charger, and it does perfectly for his lithiums. Silverpunk, is it okay to charge your lithium after each outing? I know guys that do it. I know guys that don't. Depending on like some of the guys here that fish the electric only world, depends on how hard they ran it, but sometimes you get a 2-day tournament and you got to. So it doesn't really hurt them. Now, I don't know if they do it every single time, because sometimes you can run that thing and it only gets down to 75% or, whatever. And if that's the case and you're going out, they'll use it again. But that, I don't think it hurts them, but I'm not the expert. Puffy's was 375 pounds from 3 years ago. Yeah, that's about right. There's some big ones. Reason I don't hunt bear, though, my God, they ain't nothing to drag them jokers with. Seriously. Ain't nothing to grab. You ever try to drag a 300-pound bear? No way. Kevin, so Alex says, yes, you should have it at full charge every time you go out. Amped Outdoors has good guidelines for maintaining lithiums on their website. The circuitry designed for lithium batteries are able to compensate the chargers. Now, dove season does open up next week. Dove season does, and I really wished I had a good dove field to go to. I really do. That's fun, and I like eating doves. Ain't nothing like them little breasts wrapped in some bacon. The climate outlook for the next 2 weeks is below average temps. That's what I'm saying, Philip. Was it 2 weeks? It's going to get us in the first part of September, and then about that time, boom, somebody going to cut the heat on. What's up, Kevin? Coleman says, I would recommend reading what your specific battery says about charging, but lithiums are usually fine to be charged every time. And then James Ramsey, back on the bears again. I'm pretty sure there was one killed in Gilmer County a few years ago, around 500 or 600 pounds. And you're probably right, James. There's always one or two big ones killed in the mountains every year. And I will tell you this. The guy that used to process my deer, funny story about him. He had to go out of business. I went there when there was a sign that said out of business the following season that I had killed a deer, and then I started taking it somewhere else. And I had heard through the grapevine that the man passed away, which I thought really stunk. He was very nice old fellow. I'm sitting here in the shop, I don't know, about 6 months ago, and I'm sitting there, and the guy comes in. I'm like, boy, he looks just like my old deer processor. And then we got to talking, and he goes, yeah, that's me. And I'm like, dude, I thought you was dead. I told him that. I said, honestly, I thought you was dead. And he started laughing. He got sick, and he had to give it up. But you know how grapevine stories are. By the time it got to me, he was dead. And I'm glad he's still around. But due to health reasons, he does not process deer anymore. But anyway, to get to that story, he used to do bears for a lot of guys here in Dawson County, Lumpkin, and all that. And he said you would not believe how many bears are ruined by hunters after they are killed each year. Because if you hunt a white-tailed deer, you can gut it. Sometimes you can leave the guts in it. If your processor's close enough, put a little ice in it, you can ride around with it in the back of your truck for a little bit. But a bear's body breaks down different. And this is according to him. So again, I'm not a biologist. I'm going based upon what this man said. Bears break down more like humans do. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever had the opportunity to kind of see a deceased human being, but we kind of get that blue hue kind of to us. You know what I'm talking about? Well, bears will do the same thing. And he said a lot of guys will kill a big bear. They'll throw it in the back of their truck. They'll ride around all day, showing it off to their buddies. And then they bring it to him, and he will do that little zip to gut it, and it's already turning blue on the inside. And once he sees that blue color, and he said, bears weren't. Now, this has nothing to do with the blueberry eating bears up in Canada and all that, because their skin turns blue. But he said a lot of bears every year, because hunters are not taking the proper, not precautions, the proper things after they've dispatched the bear to ensure that they can eat the meat and everything. So if any of you guys do bear hunt and take one, get that thing to your processor as quick as possible. I use Iconic batteries. They charge great every time I go out and put them back on charge. The only thing you have to watch for them is to try to charge them when it's below 32 degrees. Now, I have heard that, on some of the older generations lithiums and some of the ones that are out there today, that cold weather is a problem. But I think there are a few companies that have solved that. I'm not 100% sure. Long-term outlook, temps are supposed to be average to below average, so deer season should be interesting. Well, I hope so. Because at my age, honestly, when I was in my 20s or 30s and it was opening day, it didn't matter how hot it was. I was up the tree. It didn't matter. As I have become a little more wiser, I'm not so, if it's hot bow season, I ain't dealing with it. I'll wait. And it's always that first really cool weekend in deer season that really fires me up. Has anyone eaten bear? I have not. A lot of guys say it's good as long as you cook it right, just like anything and everything. Doug says bear is good. Atlanta Outdoors says it's good. Jeremiah heard it wasn't good, so you're like me. You heard it wasn't good. You haven't eaten any of it yet, so we got to try it. What's up, Coker? Barbecue bear. Interesting. 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 That's not saying I wouldn't. Is the Cocaine Bear movie really based on a true story here in Georgia? I have no idea, Silverpunk. I'll have to look into that. I will have to right here on my notes, write down. It does not taste like chicken. Messick, it doesn't. I promise you it don't taste like chicken. Rabbit, maybe, not bear. Um, but anyway, okay, so Philip says yes, it is. It's partially true. So I have no idea what the cocaine bear is. So I will have to write that down here on my notes, and that will be some good research for me later on this afternoon. All right, guys. So anyway, hey, we had the BFL on Lanier on Saturday. Bunch of boats, but I just want to give a shout out to the top 7. All right, just to the top 7. The name on first who won it is not a surprise to me at all. When I saw this, was Alex Prince with 26 pounds, and I tell you what, I saw Alex at it was a Scott Barnes tournament, and he's a very nice guy, super nice guy. But I asked him to come on the show, and he's going to straight up tell you, nope. And I said, why not? He goes, you asked too many questions, Danny. And I get that. And he said it very nicely. One of these days I'll break him down and get him on the show. But he won it. Our buddy Damian Schlotka was second. Logan Parker, got another young kid right there. Christian Kelly was 4th. William Bates 5th. Jack Story 6th. Hayden Seabolt, who's been on the show, was 7th. And so congratulations to them. I did not pull up who won on the co-angler side. Probably should have to give them guys some love. But, Alex Prince come back down here to Lake Lanier and dominates. The Prince of Lanier. Ain't he, though? He's good. I mean, the cat can fish. He can. He is really good on these Highland Reservoir, spot lakes. And I'm sure he can do other things. But that's what he's known for in this area. So congratulations to him, Damien, Logan, all those guys. Because that's a 2-day event. And that was that 26 pounds is a 3-fish limit. So 2 days, 26 pounds, which I believe Kevin Underwood came on here last week and said, what do you think it'll take to win the BFL? And if I'm not mistaken, he said right about 26 pounds. So there you go. Underwood nailed it. Jeremiah, I need a sample of some wild game, or ask somebody to take me hunting for the first time or something, maybe duck or rabbit or deer or whatever. Try. Buddy, duck, yeah, you can have fun with duck, but I tell you what, if you don't cook that right, of anything, if it ain't cooked right, duck. Ugh. It's really tough. You got to cook that medium rare. I guess wild turkeys taste different also. They do. A wild turkey does not taste like the turkey you're going to get at Kroger. Underwood was in the top 10 too. Yeah, I meant to write him down, and I didn't. I guess somebody called me or something, so I only had the top 7. But I give Kevin Underwood credit as a guide that he'll jump in these tournaments. And that's not always the smartest thing for some of these guys to do, because they feel like if they don't do good on tournament day, it kind of messes with their reputation for their guide service. And Kevin's like, no, I'm gonna jump right in there and go for it. He likes fishing against some boys, and I more respect to him for that. What are y'all talking about late to the show, Jeremy Concrete? Right now we're talking about the BFL on Lanier. We're getting ready to go switch over to Bassmasters. We've been talking about bear hunting, lithium batteries, how the fishing was this weekend, so those kind of things. Fished against Logan in high school. Dude kicked my ass. Tyler said, yeah, no, Logan can fish. And, that's that. There's a generation of guys on Lake Lanier that can just absolutely hammer, which kind of leads into the Bassmaster talk we're going to, talk about. So they just finished their last event. Been keeping up with it all year because we got some locals that got to fish it this year for the first time. But let's go ahead to AOI. It was actually kind of cool to watch this event because the AOI came down to this last event. I figured Trey McKinney just was on a roll, thought he might pull it off, but he didn't. Chris Johnson, he took first. Trey McKinney second. Fajita took third. Fajita. I would say Fajita. Fajita, however you want to say it. Now, a lot of people didn't want one of the Johnson brothers to win. They seem like they are a love or hate relationship with the fans. I know that when we had the no forward facing event up here on Lanier, both of them finished in the top 10. Chris was kind enough to come down, sit, talk with us. He was very nice. He was very nice, and very forthcoming, and just seemed like a really good dude. Now, his brother, Corey, he was mad. He did not. He was the only one that turned us down for an interview that day. So that's the only interactions I've ever had with them. And I kind of get it. You did well in the tournament. You're going to talk. You didn't finish as good. You're not in the mood. So I can't really judge them on that. I know they've done some things during the tournament and all that a lot of people don't agree with. But it was really interesting to see in the comment sections how many guys were rooting against them. And then let's see. Let me check. River fished really good Saturday with the pre-funnel conditions and frontal conditions. Did I see that? Slapper, however you want to say his name, Slapper, took another W. Yeah, he did. He won it. Rabbit in a crock pot with barbecue sauce is better than pulled pork. I'll try that. I've had rabbit fried. Trey should have won it. Hey, you know what? He had a bad tournament early in the year. He doesn't have that bad tournament. He probably would have won it. Now, Chris Akins, what about Rookie of the Year? I was pulling for Paul. Well, Tucker Smith won Rookie of the Year. But finishing second was Emil Wagner. Finishing third, Paul Marks Jr. So there you go. There's our Lanier contingent. Our North Georgia boys right there doing good. And in fact, for the Angler of the Year, it's so interesting because Emil and Paul, they're both like equally talented. They are just, one could win one day, one could win the next day on all these tournaments. When it came to Angler of the Year, now I put Drew Cook down at 23rd because he's a Georgia boy that's been on the show before, and I really like Drew Cook. He finished 23rd, but 27th for Angler of the Year was Emil, and 28th was Paul Marks Jr. So they were right there together. But Tucker Smith ended up winning the Rookie of the Year, and Emil second, Paul third. So my question to you about Bassmaster, though, after everything that's been going on this year, do you still watch Bassmaster #1? And what do you think about it as far as its reputation compared to the other ones, as far as the direction of where it's going? Now, I don't think bass fishing is a dying sport. I don't think Bassmaster is dying or anything like a lot of guys will get on social media and say that. I think, the sky is falling. A lot of them guys, it's a click thing. I don't think that's the case. But I'm real curious to see what your thoughts are. If I had to rank the ones I watch the NPFL first because I know more of the guys in there, and a lot of the elite guys that I know fish the NPFL, and I know the NPFL brass. I follow them. Of course, no forward-facing sonar. Then I watch Bassmaster, the granddaddy of them all. They got the forward-facing sonar, and then MLF. It doesn't bother me that they use it. It doesn't bother me that they don't use it. Each one's got a business model. But I'm just curious because when I see social media, Bass gets trashed. They get trashed right now. But they're still, to me, I hate to say, they're still the top dog. Now, are the other ones catching up? Maybe. I don't know. But to me, Bass is still the king. Hickory log fished really well Saturday morning. Good. That's good to know. I bet I didn't watch 5 minutes of Bass Live this year. Really? Well, I will tell you this, and this goes for, again, I've got to do a better job this coming up here of watching MLF. I really do. But the NPFL and Bass have the Bass Track. So sometimes you don't have to watch it. If you're wanting to know where a certain person is, and I'm guilty of this, you just go click on that and see where they're at. Click on it another hour, see where they're at. You can kind of keep up with that. You don't have to watch as much of the live footage. Just James Ramsey. I look at Bass Track and stuff throughout the day. If I think about it, I watched a lot of the Hartwell tournament. I really don't give a rat's behind if they use it or not. It's still interesting. Jeremy Conkright said, watched all the NPFL. And it kind of goes to, what you like. Now, I do know that the NPFL was the one that they caused the stir, or they had all the news and momentum going into the year because they totally banned forward-facing sonar. And Of course, we all know you had a bunch of elites come over and fish it, and it made for some good fishing for sure. But do you consider it better than Bass right now or MLF? I don't know. I don't know. Bass Live has too many commercials and too much commentary. Now, is okay. That's the listen. So with you, Jeremy Conkright, it's not so much the fishing that's going on, is how it's presented. Is that what you're saying? Is that what turns you off from watching a Bassmaster event? One of the big complaints with the NPFL over the last couple of years has been their coverage, and they're trying to do something each and every year to make it a little bit better. And then I saw some comments where people were saying MLF's coverage is by far better than all of them. I'm just not crazy about the format. So I don't know. It's interesting to break it down, but I mean, what do you guys think about Bassmaster? Has it taken a step back from what it used to be? Me, I don't know. And the reason I say I don't know is because this young crop of anglers that are fishing Bassmaster right now, the Tucker Smiths, the Emil, Gee, just McKinney, all of them, I find it amazing to watch them, forward-facing sonar or not. As an old fart that I am, I find it amazing to see the amount of talent in that field that is 30 years old and younger. I think it's absolutely astounding. And I don't know that the other leagues have that draw with the younger anglers. There's a lot of great younger anglers in both of them. But these guys in bass are just absolutely phenomenal. I enjoyed the pros YouTube videos after the tournaments, and a lot of them are doing that. And then you got guys like Chris Zaldane that are doing it live, which is kind of interesting. He's doing it live on his channel on YouTube. And I'll check in from time to time. He's got his live while Bass has got their live going. And so it's kind of interesting, and I guess if you're not getting Bass cameras on your boat, it's a good thing for your fans. I like all fishing, but topwater or cast catches best. Forward-facing sonar is not as exciting, but interesting to watch. Okay, I got what you're saying. Can we get a show with someone talking the jig minnow technique? Yeah, we can do that, Jeremiah. I watch Zaldane stream more than Bass live. Okay, so that I was going to ask that question. How many of you guys watch Zaldane stream? And so when it comes to the commentary and the commercials, Bass, yes. It's kind of hard for me to sit and listen to, some of them. But even on the NPFL, I really like Luke Duncan and Fat Cat, and they do an okay job. But I don't, it's very hard to sit and talk, especially the way they do it on the NPFL, while you're watching guys, and you have to do it for so long just to come up with stuff off the top of your head and to try to keep it interesting. It's really tough. He says, I'll watch Chris not take a bite over watching Bass Live. So a lot of you guys sound like, or I don't say a lot of them, but you don't like Bass Live. So you don't like the coverage. Would you change and watch Bassmaster more if they changed the personalities that were calling the event? No one cares about Ronnie and his screen of knowledge. I get you. Do you think not having Zone on there as much, did that change it? I don't know. Or would you want to see fresh faces? I watched Zaldane. He brings some good energy. Well, I got nothing against Chris Zaldane. But Jeremy, you guys right there, would you watch it if they had different personalities calling it? Like if they had, certain football, think of football and baseball. There are certain announcing teams that you love it. I can listen to them talk all day. I think the guy that does the Braves games are pretty good. He's pretty good. I was not a big fan of Chip Carey. I love Skip Carey. Grew up with Skip. His granddad, Harry Carey, with the Cubs, because when I was growing up, all you had was the Cubs and the Braves on those super stations. So I grew up with them. Chip Carey couldn't get into. But, the guys that the Braves have now, I really do like. See you, Doug. Zona was the only thing that made Bass Live. Okay, so I'm asking, though, how about this, Jeremy? If you could pick some people to take over Bass Live that you would find more interesting, who would it be? Who do you replace those guys with? Who do you replace them with? And if they did that, would you be more willing to watch it? I don't know. I like the pros they have on helping, like when they had Brandon Lester. Yep, that's good. And it's always good to get those personalities in there because some of the pros really have some good personalities, good insights into what's going on. But I've watched a few of them get on there, and it's like watching paint dry. Not everybody's cut out to be in front of a mic or a camera. Not everybody can do that. I like watching Larry Nixon. Yeah, for sure. I wish they would bring back all the old stuff from bass, like lure breakdowns and the radar fish, watching how they moved and all the animations and everything. Okay, that could do it. That could do it. Nobody has any charisma in the pro bass fishing industry, with exceptions like Zona Swindle and annoying ass Iconelli. But everybody now is very dry. So is it more so? Interesting take you guys are going on right here. I didn't expect to get talking about this. Of course, you know how I am. I don't know what we're going to talk about once we get started. But with coverage, if Swindle retired, would Swindle be as fun to watch covering a bass tournament as he would be fishing it? Or, would you watch it if Iconelli was as entertaining as he is on his podcast and other stuff? Would you watch him cover a tournament week after week, month after month? Good point. I'm going to jump ahead. Chris Akins, are they dry or socially safe? You have to be careful. Lord knows TikTok will ban you. All right. You can't make fun of people in the state of Alabama. But I get what you're saying. It's hard to watch when a lot of the personalities like Evers and Wheeler are not on Bass. Bass Live is 45 minutes of BS, 15 minutes of fishing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the guy catching them pitching a black jig in the reeds because he thought the bass were feeding on blackbird sticks in my head constantly. I have no idea on that message. Maybe somebody down there will know. What's up, Fred? Alex says, I can't stand Ike. I just wouldn't watch. And there are some people that have personalities that it's black or white with you. You love them or you can't stand them. And Ike, he's one of those guys. Now, I'm just still curious though. Who would you replace the current as Bass Live is? Who would you put in there? It's not the easiest thing in the world to sit there and talk and keep it interesting. And I know they try and they do a pretty good job, but I just don't know that there's somebody ready to step up in their place. You would rather watch G-Man. Swindle has personality, knows how to be relatable and laugh. He does. No, Randy B's not coming on there, Coleman. I don't think he wants that job. I'll say that. Can I listen? We beat up Randy Blockett on this channel a lot just because of forward facing stuff and where we live and all that kind of stuff. But every once in a while, he puts out a video where he does either A, give some good information, or B, he will help push other people's channels. And so I watched a video today that Randy put out where he was talking about a couple of his favorite YouTube channels. And so when he does videos like that and it helps push other people, you can't dog the man for that one. So as long as he ain't talking about flat brimmed hat guy and cheater boxes and stuff, he really does put out some good stuff. He does. Slick Johnson would actually be funny. The problem with Slick is, remember the comment up there about being socially safe? I don't think Slick can be socially safe because that's not the character. That's not his character. I don't think Slick can get on there. I think you would find it. I think he'd push the boundaries, but I think you would find it not the Slick you see on TikTok. Ike is a character. KVD would be a good one. He can talk and explain things pretty good. Christine Fisher and Slick don't have a filter. Slick don't have a filter on purpose. He don't have a filter on purpose. But like I told you last week, Slick's a good dude. Christine Fisher would be interesting. Now I'm going to get in trouble. Here's why I think Christine Fisher would be good. I'm going to get in trouble here. I think if you're going to announce the sport, you should be part of it. That's just kind of me. I think you should have some experience. going through the motions. So sometimes on other sports, when they get a female commentator, I'm just like, ugh, you didn't play professional baseball. And I know that will get people mad, but I don't think guys, that's guys as well. I don't think, I just think you got to have at least one or two guys in there that know what they're doing. Christine Fisher, she's got skin in the game. She could do it. Now, personality wise, I don't know. Greg Hackney, I'm not saying she has a bad personality. I'm saying I don't know if she would like to do that. Greg Hackney all day long. Hillary Martin, I don't know about Hillary. She's still young. But I can relate to Slick, and I like him. Mike, absolutely. I love Slick. I love Slick Johnson. We get along very well. And I will say this. Every time I'm at an event that he's there, he always comes up and talks to me. Always. We're buddies. And he'll call me from time to time, and I'll shoot him a text from time to time, just running things up. But we get along well. Now, has he rubbed a lot of people wrong? Sure. But I think Slick's really down deep in. He's got good intentions. I'd like to see Wheeler back in Bass. I've been paying more attention to him because, like I said, I've been trying to watch the MLS stuff a little bit more. So I'm trying to pay attention to them guys more. I don't know. I need a Pat McAfee or Bill Burr as a commentator. No, I don't know about that. I should do it, Coleman. Bass ain't going to call and hire me. They're not going to call and hire me to do it. I would do it, and it'd be the same thing as anybody else. There'll be people that would love it, and there would people that would just absolutely trash it. And there would probably be more people that would trash it than would like it. I'd probably get fired at Bass in about 2 tournaments. Okay, 2 tournaments, because I would crack some off-color joke that you shouldn't say, and then I would get called from corporate. HR would call me up. It'd be like TikTok. I'd get a warning on the first one, and the next one I'd get a strike. And, I'd probably hit my 3 strikes within 3 tournaments. So I don't think that that's ever going to happen. But I think it'd be fun to do. I do think it would be fun to do because I would ask the questions that the other guys are not. And every time Patrick Walters got on there, I would always make a comment about his butt in his shorts. Wheeler can't fish bass with the way they crack down on info these days, Alex said. Now, Alex, we ain't stirring the pot. It's Monday. We're going to be nice on this Monday. It's going to be nice. Kyle Patrick would be really good too. It's interesting to see your guys' takes on who's the personalities that could do it. Now, it doesn't always work. Now, you see that in football a lot. In football a lot, they'll bring up some, like Tom Brady, okay? Take Tom Brady and take Tony Romo. They won't hire you, but they sure will steal your podcast name. Yeah, Bass, you stole my podcast name. This is the original live well at Fish, North Georgia, not something you guys came up with. I'll give you that, Alex. B-Lat would be good. He might be a good one. Matt Pangrak, hey, I got is awesome in all reporting and interviews. First of all, let me say thank you, Mr. Andy. Actually, I hadn't checked my mailbox in a couple of days, and so you sent me these. These are the cast amethyst, the cast echoes, the 7-2 in the amethyst color. See, this is when you have good friends in this world. Now, here's one thing I noticed about these things. Man, they're big. They are really big. And what strikes me as funny is, you remember when a lot of guys, it just seems to me that when forward facing came out, everybody was downsizing. And now things are getting big. But this is a beautiful looking bait. It is an absolute beautiful looking bait. Now, is this the color that Brooks helped design? Was this one that Brooks had a lot to do with? But that's a good looking bait. I'm just curious. I'm wondering. I think differently. I think a little differently. I wonder what the ditch bite would be with a big one like this. I wonder. But I checked my mailbox today, and I'm glad I did because I got more of Kevin Underwood's baits in here for the store and this package. Andy, you're a good dude. Thank you very much for that. Awesome. Kaz Anderson should do it. Oh, Kaz couldn't do it. He's got the personality for it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, guys, like, we might be too country. Throw that sucker on a scrounger. Well, that's what I was thinking, Alex. I'm thinking of what that would do over on Latham, that 7-2. The way I like to throw a scrounger and slow roll it across the bottom. There's a bait commercial with your music in it also. Well, I will say this. Listen, if we're being honest, they have these, because with the Real American Road Trip, we ran into this a little bit as well. You can pay money for these companies where they have uh, music in mass for whatever use. You pay a monthly fee or a one time fee or whatever, and then you can take it and then do what you want with it. You get what I'm saying? And so sometimes, several times, we've had some music that we go, and it's open for anybody. And we've taken a musical selection and put it in an episode or something like that, and then we'll hear it on a commercial or we'll hear it somewhere else. So that's how you get that kind of stuff. I would watch Latimer for sure. Uh, why are there only 3 black pros in fishing? Let me read these other comments and then I'll get back to that. I watch it all. Feeds my desire to keep learning and getting better. KVD should be the talent. Joe Bennett. I can agree with that. Yeah, Brooks helped with Lanier, and the Amethyst cast did a great job on the photos and videos, as they always do. As they always do. But thank you very much, Andy, for the baits. I appreciate it more than you know. Now, okay, let's jump into this. Why are there only 3 black pros in fishing? Now, you can kind of let me think how I would want to say that. Let's take baseball, and this is the only way I know to take it. All right, because I don't have a racist bone in my body. Even one of my best friends is Cam at church. He's black as black can be. He's from Kentucky, but first time we got talking, and we were talking for a while. I'm like, he said, "Well, as a black guy," I went, "You're black." Like, I did really honestly try not to even pay attention to it. They're human or they're not. That's just kind of the way I am. But like with baseball, inner city baseball in the black community is dying, and they're trying to revitalize that because now you have more people from Central America or the Dominican and all that. So you have a large Latin influence, and of course you have a lot of white people that play baseball. But in the inner city, and this is things that I've read. Okay, this is not my expertise. This is things I've read is that they're more apt to go to the baseball. I mean, to basketball, to football. Okay, so the opportunities for baseball are there, but more of them are going to other things. So what I'm wondering is, when it comes to fishing, do more black young anglers, are they kind of steered away from it? Do they not want to pursue that? Is there things that are more interesting to them? Do they just want to fun fish? I don't know that answer. I mean, I really don't know the answer to that. Is it economics? It could be. But that's an interesting question, that you put out there. And I wished I would. I hate sounding like a dumbass, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. I would say it would start earlier in life. I mean, I would say that the way they're steered as a child, and that's a tough one. But it's a really good question. I do think, like Atlanta Outdoors just said, opportunity and price of entry. Same with golf. That would be my stance. And, it is that way. Jeremiah says, because my family couldn't afford a boat in high school and college fishing wasn't a thing when I was coming up. That's why there's only 3. Well, that's one reason, Jeremiah. I get that. So, it was the time you came up, and again, back to opportunity and the cost of it. So that could be one. Statistically speaking, they would be at a disadvantage due to the financial requirements. Listen, hell, I can't afford to do it. 2023 poll was done, and about the less amount of money. Okay, sorry. I knocked the comments off real quick. Let me pull them back up. Okay. 2023 poll was done, and African American households made 33% less money. Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. I don't know. I'd root for them. I would root for them, and if there was a way to figure out how to get it, I would say this. Let's just think about out here. You're probably more predominantly white out here in the rural or suburban areas where high school fishing is a thing. I don't know, other than maybe, well, let me think. I don't know of any Atlanta area schools, and I could be wrong. I don't know of any Atlanta area high schools that have a fishing team. Could it help? Majority of inner city black people don't fish for catching or release, first of all, and fishing isn't seen as something you can do as a career really in that community. Okay, so I get that, Jeremiah. I get that, and of course that is coming from a black individual. I think most get involved in the tournament fishing later in life. Not as many black youths in fishing. There are very few serious crappie tournament anglers. There are very few. There is a very okay. There is a very few serious crappie tournament anglers. Also, I don't think it's got anything to do with talent. I don't think it's got anything to do with talent. I think it's just different. It might be something to look into. I think you get into the opportunity first. And again, out here, we just have more high school fishing teams. It gets pushed a lot more. It's more of a country way of life. There's not, and Patricia Leanne Shaw says there's not even that many in the industry. Well, I would say this too. I will say this too. Maybe times can be a changing a little bit, but it is seen as a good old boy kind of thing. For being honest. Could that be a turnoff right there from the get go? It's a really deep and serious question though, that I wished I had more information in front of me, because right now I'm just throwing out guesses, and and they could be some of the most ignorant answers you've ever heard in your life. Because to be quite honest, I'm ignorant when it comes to that question. I don't know why. I think Jeremiah has given some good, answers from a perspective that is much more in tune with that group of people than I am. My hometown median household income was 31,000 when I left. Now it's 39. Money plays a huge part. Maybe, just like why are there less female anglers cashing it in at higher levels? Their lack of interest? Maybe, I don't know. Why are there not more pro female anglers? I don't know. Everybody, oh, good Lord, Patricia Leanne, listen. I fished to eat because my parents didn't make much money when I was a kid. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. You know what? That might make a good show. That might make a good episode of the Live Well. It might make a good one. We'll find, maybe if we can find one, and that might be one I would really love to get B-Lad on. I've asked him before. Somebody on his Facebook Messenger thing reads my comments, but they don't ever answer. I'd like to get him on, but I think it would be interesting. And if so, let me ask you this. If so, what can we do to change it? What can we do to get more females involved in, higher end professional fishing? What can we do to get more black youth involved so that they can jump up and to be a pro? I mean, what does it take? And I'm going to ask you guys a tough question. I'll ask you a tough question. Each one of you will have to answer this in your own heart and mind. How many of you would even like that? And not just with black, I'm talking about with females. Because there's a few of you out there, and I'm talking to you. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's part of this world. If we want to be honest about it, we still deal with racism or sexism and all that. I mean, we still deal with it. It's still part of our society. I run a small group through church where we take kids and families fishing. We have a very diverse group of kids. It's so awesome. Have helped many of them catch their first fish. Fishing for most black folks, and this is Jeremiah, so when I read this, I'm reading his words, right? Fishing for most black folks is a Shakespeare or ugly stick looking for catfish, brim, or crappie. That's the majority. Pro bass fishing is very small in the community. Do you think Ish will ever make it back to the elites? There's a lot of talent out there. A lot of talent. I think it's tough for anybody to make it to the elites. White, black, whatever. Pink, green, I don't care. To make it to the elites is tough. So for me to say, no, he'll never make it back, that's not responsible. For me to say, yeah, he's going to make it, that's not responsible. I don't know. But Jeremiah brings up an interesting point. It's different in that community as far as the way they view things. And it's different in our community, in our house, the way we view things. So I mean that's very it's man, that's a deep. There's a lot to grasp right there. Because I want to say this. Fishing should be the only sport, maybe other than golf. But now take golf because, but I think fishing is the only sport that you can do from the time you can walk to the time that you can die. The fish don't care what sex you are, and the fish don't care what color you are. So you can start there. Anybody and everybody should be able to fish. You start from that point, then you start looking at opportunity. And why can't we, why do they have this opportunity and they don't? And you can just see. You can just see and work it up from there. But man, that's a tough question. I really didn't expect to have that question on the show today. And I really wished I was more prepared. I'll look into it though. I'd like to see the numbers. And I'd also like to see the numbers. And I don't think you have to do this when you get a fishing license, but it'd be interesting to see who owns what as far as fishing license, who's buying the licenses. And again, things like boat ownership, those kind of things. It would be interesting to see and deal with and to look and just to break down. Dental appointment, just checking in, just went by a pond on Saturday and told my grandkids that I would have starved in college if not for fishing from it. Oh, so yeah, I get what you're saying, Doc Holliday. You fed yourself for the pond. We couldn't afford a boat or growing up. Well, listen, I didn't have a bass boat. We had luckily I was blessed enough to have a little lake in my backyard. And we did have an old 1436 Alumacraft that I got to fish out of. But I didn't have we didn't have the money to go out and buy a bass boat. And I'll be quite honest with you, there's a lot of people in this world that can't afford a bass boat now. I mean, with the prices that they are, a new one anyway. But I think what I'll do is over the next day or two, because I don't want to just go home and look at a few numbers and come back. I might later on in the week, we might revisit this. We might revisit this after I can go actually research it. And I would appreciate you guys to actually go research it as well, because you guys help me get through shows all the time. And let's see what it is like between not just, like I said, not just black anglers, but also female anglers, and just kind of just delve into it a little bit. Look at the guy that fished the MLS from Italy. Look at Carl Jacobs. No matter where you're from, if you love it, you'll make it happen, win, lose, or draw. I'm 40 and I still don't have a boat. Fred, that's true. That's true. And we talked about that. If you want to be great, you can be great. Just do it, be uncommon. However, too, like, no black commentators. Exactly. But at the same time, if you ain't, if you ain't got a lot in the sport, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. And it is a great topic. It's a topic a lot. Listen, let's be honest with you. It's a topic a lot of white guys are uncomfortable talking about. Just be honest. It is a topic a lot of white people, let's just say white guys, white country boys, it's not a topic that's comfortable for a lot of people to talk about. Because they are afraid that something gets said, it can be taken out of context or construed one way or another. And you got to have some balls to talk about it. And that goes for guys like Jeremiah too. Goes for the black guys too. You got to bring it up in conversation. And it's interesting to see where it goes. I'm not scared of it. We can do it. Lord knows I'll talk about anything. But I'd have to get Snoop Dogg as a commentator now that Shannon Sharp's out. Shannon Sharp got himself in trouble, dude. And I was a fan of Shannon Sharp. I was kind of a fan of Shannon Sharp. But sometimes you make your own bed, right? You got to deal with what you do. But man, now listen, Patricia Leanshaw, you really opened up the Pandora's box here today. KM92 Fox is laughing. Are you laughing at the Snoop Dogg? You know what? I think I would enjoy Snoop Dogg. But he's old. I don't think a lot of people realize how old Snoop Dogg is. He is not a young chicken anymore. What is he, 60, 70? He's older than I am. I know he's older than I am. And I'm not a spring chicken. All right, let's do this. Y'all want to have some fun? We need Steve Harvey to commentate. Nah, yeah. How about this? Let's have some fun. Jeremiah, since you're here, and I feel comfortable around you, Steve Harvey, since he likes fishing, would be great. How about this? We were talking about who would you replace on the commentator of bass. You know, I was thinking we're talking about anglers and all that. But if it would spice it up, help it out, give it a little soul, whatever. And I know there are guys out there going, I cannot believe Danny's getting ready to say this, but I'm going to. If you could pick one black guy to be on the cast for the Bassmaster Elites, who would it be? Who would it be? I would not pick Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey would not be my choice. I would need a combo with good chemistry like Roland Martin and Snoop or Steve Harvey and Swindle. Okay, but so you guys keep coming up with Steve Harvey. Now, Steve Harvey was down at ICAST, and he seemed like a very nice guy. I'm not one of those that goes up and has to talk to everybody and shake hands and all that. Steve Harvey was literally 5 feet from me. He's a big dude. All right, so here we go. So you guys are answering. Good. And listen, Jeremiah, I want your serious answer too. That's the one I was waiting for. Probably Jamie Foxx, Ish, Bilat, and wait, what is a guy after my own heart? Because I think the funniest individual on this earth right now is Dave Chappelle. I would pay money. I would buy a subscription if Dave Chappelle was on the Bassmaster Live. Honest to goodness. Dave Chappelle is by far my favorite. And I grew up with Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy back when he was younger. I can remember the first time listening to Richard Pryor I was probably, good grief, 10, 11, 12 years old. I'm like, I can't believe he's saying what he's saying. And I didn't understand half of what he was saying. I do now as an adult. But I think Dave Chappelle would be amazing. Dave Chappelle would be absolutely amazing covering a bass fishing event. And let Dave be Dave now. Now, when I say Dave Chappelle would be good, you got to let Dave be Dave. No filter. Could you imagine how funny it would be if Dave Chappelle called a major bass tournament or was on Bassmaster? That would be extraordinary. I would absolutely love it. Do you think, okay, serious fishing question. We can always count on Carson. But you guys keep in the comments, Darius Rucker. Darius is good. Oh, Hootie. I like Hootie. Do you think with this fake fall, it's going to mess up the fishing or make it better? I think it ain't going to mess it up. If anything, it's going to make it better. I think it's going to make it better. Cat would be good. For knowledge to be taken seriously. BLAT for entertainment, a comedian like Dave. I would rather, listen, if you want knowledge, put Kevin Van Dam on there. If you want entertainment, Chappelle. Dave Chappelle. Could you imagine? And I can't even say the stuff that Dave says. Dave embarrasses me, but Dave makes fun of everybody equally, which is why I like Dave Chappelle. If you ain't catching, you'd certainly be laughing. Cat Williams, another one said Cat Williams. Wait, what? He won his tournament on Saturday, 5 for 15.99. Congratulations, dude. Absolutely, congratulations. That put a smile on my face, just that thought. Get Chappelle and Jeff Foxworthy. Listen, Foxworthy, I don't know about you guys. I'm sure he's a nice dude, but I never really found him funny. You might be a redneck come on. I know he's funny, but I thought when they did that comedy tour thing, he was the least funny of the ones he had. I think Larry the Cable Guy is funnier than he is, and then the other two. Ron White by far is funnier than he is. But Foxworthy is clean white man comedy. That's what Foxworthy is. You're welcome. Wait, what? Black and Nelly, you guys are crazy out there, man. Listen, it's been Monday all morning, and I've come in here and I'm going to leave after the show because I got a bunch of computer work to do, and I'm going to do it from the house. But it's been Monday morning. It's just been kind of like, it's Monday. Even though I love coming to the shop, this is the only job I've ever had where I wanted to go to work. But seriously, that Chappelle, you saying Chappelle, that absolutely put a smile on my face. That is, I'm just in my mind. I'm just thinking of what that would be like. Danny needs to keep talking like Foxworthy. Yeah, I'd take Eddie Griffin too. Actually, that'd be a good one. And Kevin Hart. No, I'm not a Kevin Hart fan. I mean, he's okay. If you're gonna go, with that, you got Chappelle's the top of the mountain, and then I would go with Bill or Shane or Gillis or whatever. And if you put them with Chappelle and all that, and let them call, oh no, don't apologize. I think it's funny. Now we did deal with some serious stuff, and I think we should keep on that for sure. I mean, why are there not more black guys fishing in professional fishing? I think we should do that. I think we should figure it out. Figure out why more females haven't made those ranks. Okay, let's do that. But now when it comes to just the entertainment aspect of it, I think that's just absolutely, we should put them three. Put them three at the beginning of the day. Let them have free reign. Get Shane Gills or whatever and get Chappelle, maybe Bill. Bill be yelling at everybody. You know, it would be fantastic. Fantastic. Eddie, being a country dude from Kansas City and a comedian, would go over well, but he needs somebody to balance him out. Redneck jokes get old quick to someone that grew up in a trailer park. Funny at first, but you've heard them all in 5 minutes. Land Outdoors. Hunting over corn is bad, says the guy from the Midwest who hunts over the cornfields. Yeah, it happens. Love Christine Fisher at Trailer Swift. I reached out to Christine on Instagram about coming on the live well, and she said yes. We just got to work it with their schedule. In fact, a lot of them say yes, but they're just so busy. But we talked about it last week about, figuring out a way to get more females involved in the sport. That was the night that TikTok kicked me off, because actually there were a couple of them in the comment section that were very serious anglers we were talking to. But I think I'd like to do that. I think I'd like to do that show. Dan Sauter doing impressions like Macho Man would be hilarious. It would be. Anyway, think about that, guys. But I really want you guys to do your homework. And I know only a couple of you will, because I don't like homework either. But let's just kind of ponder what we talked about today. Kind of ponder what we talked about, especially you guys who got daughters. You got daughters, you want to get more females involved in fishing, especially professional. And I would not want it to be like the WNBA. Will Christine make it to the elites? Need Hillary Martin on here. I will say this about Christine Fisher. Probably has the talent to do it. Talent-wise, I don't think it's a thing. I don't know if being in a kayak for so long will hinder her now that she's in a bass boat. I don't know. But I will never tell you that anybody can make it to the elites or can't make it to the elites, because that is just, you got to have skill. You got to have luck. Everything's got to line up, because the way you qualify for it now, it's tough. It's tough. So can she? Yes. Will she? I don't know. Hillary Martin, she's got a long way to go. Get Shaq and Charles Barkley to call Bass Live. That would be funny too. That's the only reason to watch professional basketball, is for them. Watching Charles Barkley make fun of those San Antonio women and Shaq just dying laughing. Is Christine better than the worst ranked elite pro? Yep, that's what Wait What says. I can't debate that. You probably are right. Danny, when can we start registering for the Toys for Tots? I feel like donating some money. Let me get with those guys and see when we can start registering. They probably say it's okay to do now, but let me get with them, and then some point this week I'll get that out there to you. Is Christine Fisher better than the worst ranked elite pro? I can't say she ain't. I really cannot. I cannot say that she's not. But then, you got to watch that, because you always get the, since I'm out on TikTok, but just say when Georgia or Alabama or one of them teams have a monster year in college football, and then everybody says they could beat the worst ranked professional team that went 0-6, like the 0-16 Detroit Lions that year, whatever it was when they were bad. No, they can't. They can't. So I'm always real careful with things like that, saying somebody that's not an elite can beat the elites. But as far as talent wise, she's right there with them. Where do we register for the Toys for Tots? You'll be doing it through here at Fish North Georgia this year, and you can either call me in and I'll put it out the way to do it, but it'll be here through us. So we tried it with another store last year, and it didn't go bad, but it wasn't as easy as it could have been. No college team can beat an NFL team, period. And then Patricia Leanne Shaw says she's better than G-Man. I don't know. Again, you guys are saying that, not me. You guys are saying that, not me. So anyway, Christine is a hard worker and a grinder, very smart on the water, 100%. 100%. There is nothing I could say bad about her at all. I think Christine gets her bearings being in a boat. She's got a good shot at it. And that's what I was saying, Jeremy. Like, listen, she was as good as it gets in the kayak world. She's as good as it gets in the kayak world. She beat many a man in the kayak world. Getting in a bass boat's different, and I agree. Once she figures all that out, she's talented enough. I don't see why she couldn't make the elites. I'm not going to say she is, but I don't see why she couldn't. But yeah, going from a kayak to a boat is different for sure. But go Christine, 100%. Go Christine. That woman's caught some big fish, and not just bass, like muskies, all that stuff. She is an angler. She is a professional angler. But that would be interesting to see. But that'd be another thing too to look into, like high school. Like start at high school. How many girls are fishing high school? Again, how many black kids are fishing high school? Let's see what there is, and see how you can change that. And she's lost some too. Yeah, she's lost some, but she's beat a lot of them. There's a difference in kayak fishing and boat fishing. Yeah, sure. Have you seen the latest drama Cerebral Tackle or whoever he is posted aiming at G-Man's family? I did watch that. I did see that. Now, here's the thing, Aaron Parker. I knew about that situation before Cerebral put out his video today. So I knew about all the stuff going on with his stepdaughter, her husband, all that stuff. I don't make those videos. I don't put that kind of content out. So of course I hear it. It stays in my head. And I'm not even going to jump into that about whether it's right or wrong, who did what, whatever. I'm one of those, let the legal system take care of it. Now, Cerebral, he put it out there. And I'll give him credit, like whether you agree with him or not, he'll put it out there. Love him or hate him. In the comment section, I mean, I have not gone back. See, I like going back and reading the comments. Seeing what guys say. And I read a few of them, and one guy had already said, hey, what does this have to do with fishing? And then Cerebral's answer is, well, she had booths at some events. The husband or ex-husband or whoever just got arrested. I don't think they ever got divorced. He fished some tournaments. So he and of course, it's G-Man. Was it the right thing to do? I wouldn't have done it. But then again, that's not my content. That's not the kind of content we put out here. Well, she got her name out there. She certainly got her name out there. But I don't know, man. I don't know what to take. I will say this, and this is just as a dad and as a son, who has parents out there. Sometimes things your kids or stepkids, whatever, will do really look bad on the parents. Trust me, I embarrassed my parents plenty of times. My kids could do something and it could really bad, and it could, a lot of people will say, well, that's Danny's kid, and it could look bad on me. So, I hate it for G-Man. Just at least on the surface right here, I hate the whole entire situations, whether you love Swindler or not. I hate the fact that it's now front and center and out there. So, but again, would I put that video out? No. And to be honest with you, Aaron, Cerebral and I mean, we're buddies. I mean, we're not going out fishing tomorrow or nothing, but as far as social media and getting along, we get along. But he does his thing over there and I do mine. If he'd have called me and asked me my opinion on that, I'd have told him. He probably wouldn't have listened to me anyway. But we'll see where it goes with that. That's a very, very, very tough situation to be involved in. And I certainly don't want to add any fuel to that fire. Danny, you ever take any to steel buffalo? Yes, I've taken some deer to steel buffalo. Never had a problem with them. The MPFL is next. I don't know what you're talking about there, Patricia, on that. Truth is, us parents do not have any control over our children after they get over 18 years old. No, no, we don't have any control, but they still are babies. And that's the thing is like, yeah, that's just I don't know. I mean, very few things get me speechless, but that's just an ugly situation that I like. That is a big pile of shit that I don't want to step in. And that's the only way Danny knows how to say it. It's okay. Nope, I'm going to walk around that one because it'll take me 2 years to get that out of the tread of my shoes. So I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to end the show on that negative note. We got to talk about one more thing. So I can't end the show talking about that situation. So you guys throw something out there. Something out there for sure. I will say tomorrow, when you get older, you learn to leave a man's family alone. That's the kind of thing too. Like that's yeah, Atlanta Outdoors. That's kind of yeah. That's the situation with that. Um, and it's kind of like it's even in that with the Trait and Chris Zaldane kind of thing. You know, she's very opinionated and gets out there, and it kind of comes back on him. Even though on her Twitter, like the first post says, "The opinions are mine and mine alone, and not my husband's," and all that. But just by default, you know, um, oh wow, that's tough. But yeah, I don't want to mess with nobody's family, even if the family did wrong. Even if the family did wrong. So did Ben Milliken make it to requalify for next year? I haven't looked or done the math, but I don't know. I haven't looked. I should look. I know he was pretty close to not last time I checked, but this morning coming in or over the weekend, I was busy, so I didn't look to see who didn't. Now Patricia says, let's hope not. So you don't like Milliken, huh? You don't like Ben? Got no problems with Ben. Ben probably made a heck of a lot more money on YouTube than he did fishing. He probably spent more to fish uh, than probably what was worth it. Ooh. Anyway, all right, let's bring this to a close. So tomorrow night's live well. Guys, I want you to watch it tomorrow night. Tune in because we're going to get a tank. Here's something different to talk about. It's my opinion that Georgia is the most underrated state for fishing. Georgia is the most underrated state for fishing. Could be. Could be. I don't understand how it can't be known yet, but they were talking about it every day. Now that the tournament's over, he's so close, it's like crickets. I'll have to check into it, Aaron. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, just to be transparent, didn't look. So I'll have to look. Here's the reason why I think Georgia might be the most underrated state for fishing, but also I don't think Georgia looks to capitalize on its fishing as a state, as an industry. You get what I'm saying? Alabama, Tennessee, those governments put some money. They put some money into their fisheries and to promote it. I've seen Georgia's, not the DNR, but the Wildlife Resource Division. They've got 2 commercials they play on Facebook every once in a while. They're terrible. They're terrible. And that's all I see as far as promotion. That's just, hey, go get a license. Anybody can fish. They don't promote it like Alabama or Tennessee does. But, yeah, Texas, too, Fish Finder Value Guide. Texas spends a lot of money. Does Georgia have any big grass lakes like Alabama? No, not like Alabama. There's a little grass down South Georgia. Eufaula. Yeah, those have it. But, like, up here, very little grass. Very little grass. But Georgia just ain't willing to spend the money. And I don't know why. I don't know. We'll look into that. Let's take that over to tomorrow. I'll look into that tonight, Jeremiah. Sometimes I think Georgia fishing can be a little overrated because of the record. TVA pumps big money into the Tennessee lakes more than Georgia does. Georgia focuses on making their money with the DOT. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt on that, and for sure. We have literally everything within a few hours drive of Atlanta: tarpon, trout, bass, striper, redfish, flounder, walleye, even dolphin fish and marlin offshore. I know. I know. Georgia should be dumping F1 and Florida strain in every lake y'all got. Yeah, they do some of them, but not every one of them. Again, they don't put the money into the lakes like other states do. Lanier, I do think, is the best spotted bass lake overall in the country. There's some people out in California that might argue that. Alabama has the TVA as well as Alabama Power too. Yeah, well, we have the core and other things, but I don't know. We'll look into that. I'll look into that tonight. Let's just see how much money we actually put in. It's got to be a way to find out and all that compared to other states. So, okay, so with that, guys, listen. Hey, it's Monday. Hopefully this got you through a little bit of your work day. Tomorrow night's live well, though. I mentioned it earlier. We're going to bring out a tank, the fish tank, put a camera on it, and we're going to take soft baits, and we're going to show you exactly what they look like in the water on a drop shot, on a shaky head, on the back of a jig. We'll pull out some of the minnows and just put a ball head on it and just doodle it so you guys can watch the action on it. So tomorrow night's live well is going to be a very visual experience. And we'll talk about that to see. Just, a lot of guys don't know what your bait actually looks like when it's on the bottom. They put money into the lakes, just not fishing. Now, that's true. But we're going to pull out the tank. Now, I'll be here tomorrow at 12, and we'll do one of these, and maybe we'll continue on some of the things that we talked about tonight now that I'll have a chance to go look into it. But join us here tomorrow at 12, and then tomorrow night at 8. Should be a good time. And eventually, later on in this week, we'll be able to pull the TikTok guys back in here as well. Once our ban is over, that will be Friday. Friday's the first day we can bring them back over on TikTok and hope that we don't get another violation. So anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Been an interesting conversation. Lots to think about today. Not not like I didn't have enough stuff to think about already. Now I got to go think about some other stuff. So you guys be good, be safe, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.